Hello and welcome to Hannah's Happy Space. I'm Hannah and you join me at home today. I live in a small town, biggish town, on the edge of Dartmoor in Devon in southwest of England. Let's do the typically British thing, shall we, and say sorry about the lighting. If I look outside, it is very miserable, very grey, so hopefully the lights are okay. But beautiful sunshine the last 2 days, and the day that I decide to record is the day that the weather turns to the typical weather that we're used to here on Dartmoor. Like I say, I am literally on the edge of Dartmoor. If I look out my kitchen window, it's out there. So that's me. What else do I normally say? And let me think. If you don't know me, what an awful start. let's ignore this. If you've not seen me before, it's not normally quite as rambly to start with anyway. Right, yes, I live at home here in near Dartmoor. I live with my older sister Cara and her son Sebi, my nephew. It's only me here today. Cara's out this morning. Sebi's gone to stay with his dad for a week. It's the Easter holidays, so he's off and about. So I thought I'd take this opportunity while the house is quiet to film a podcast. And I was thinking, wow, well done. It's not been very long since I last podcast. And to be honest, in my record, it isn't very long. But actually looking at the dates, it's almost nearly 4 weeks. I think it's definitely 3.5. And to be honest, I thought I'd have more stuff to show you after such a long time. But anyway, I was in the mood to film, thought I'd try and keep up a little bit better. So here I am with all my ramblings. Take a breath, Hannah. Let's calm down a little bit. It was all very rushed this morning. Cara was going out anyway, and then all of a sudden she's like, right, I'm going. I thought, oh gosh, okay, take the opportunity. She's not going to be gone that long. Yeah, so let me just pull myself together a little bit. Right. I wanted to start off by saying a massive thank you to anyone that watched the last podcast, liked it, commented on it. I had a huge response from all of you who watched. Absolutely lovely. Some really, really kind, thoughtful messages. Lots of umming, sorry. It was really, really great. Gave me a real boost, made me feel like I'm in the right place, should be doing more podcasts. Really lovely of you. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming back. And I also had a little flurry of subscribers after the last video as well. So thank you very much to you and welcome back. You're probably thinking, who's this rambling wreck? She wasn't like this last time. But yes, thank you so much. And if by chance you've stumbled across this as your very first video of mine, they're not normally quite like this. Hopefully you enjoy what you're seeing and will stick around, maybe even go as far as to subscribe. Blah. Who knows? Yeah, but honestly, massive thank you. Really, really kind of you all. Okay, was that everything I wanted to say to you before we got into what you're all here for, and that's the crafting? Yes, there was one thing. It's a bit of a technical question. So last podcast, I realised after having edited it that I, talked about all my projects, told you what patterns and things they are, but I didn't actually show you any pictures of the patterns, that kind of thing. I put all the information in the box below, which I will do this time again. But I didn't show you any printed off patterns or anything like that. I don't print my patterns unless I'm working from an actual book. I don't have a physical copy of a pattern. I do everything off of my phone, download the patterns onto my phone and work from that. Now, obviously, I can't show you the pattern on my phone because I'm filming on my phone. So in previous podcasts, what I've done is to find a picture and insert it on the screen. Now, the editing software that I use doesn't have the function like lots of other podcasters do to put like a picture here. It will only allow me to put a full picture in. So this podcast, that's what I'm going to do. So if I talk about a pattern, I will put in a photo picture of from the actual pattern so you can see what I'm talking about. It's up to you guys what you think. If you're happy with me just explaining what the patterns are, put in the information below and you can go and search them up if you want to. I can stick to that way. If you don't mind me putting the photo in for a couple of seconds, I'll do it that way. Or third option, any fellow podcasters out there who might happen to be watching, what editing software do you use? I don't use Apple, so iMovie's a no. I'm happy to pay a reasonable amount for editing software. Obviously, I don't have a huge budget. But yes, any suggestions of any of those things would be much welcome. Yeah, any ideas, let me know. Okay, I think that's it. Let's stop talking about anything other than the craft, shall we? So let's get on with it. Let me tell you about my finished objects. So like I say, it's been 3, almost 4 weeks. I've got a couple of finished projects to show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-ish. You'll understand why. So let's start with what I am wearing. So in a very podcastery way, what I am wearing today is a finished object. I hadn't even cast this on when I last spoke to you. I hadn't even planned on casting it on. I know I wanted to make one. What is this one, you say? This is a Felix Pullover from Savoury Knitting. If you see me looking down, my notes are under the camera. Yeah, Felix Pullover from Savoury Knitting, knit in an Aran weight yarn. Let me get a little bit closer. Oh, excuse me, that wasn't very nice, was it? It's got this eyelet, can't quite see it. Eyelet design, there we go. On the raglan increasing, sorry, brain went. The colours obviously not showing as brilliantly as it could do. I've got a label here. This has been knit using a Woolcraft yarn. Woolcraft Shetland Heather Aran. It has got a name because I know it has because I've seen it. But on the ball band it is shade Z016. It's this sort of purpley, oh that's better, different shades of purple, mottled effect. And this is has got wool content. Where's it gone? There it is. 25% wool, 75% acrylic, and it is really nice. Really nice to knit with, really nice and soft, really nice and warm. I haven't blocked it yet. You can't really see on here too badly. Some of the stitches are a little bit uneven on the yoke because the yarn, sorry, you're really close. The yarn that I used for this project, I'd actually started some of it in another project and had to rip it out, so it's a little bit crinkly. But it's fine. I have worn it once already. Yeah, so this is the Felix Pullover from Savoury Knitting, and I blame Ruth. That didn't take long to mention my lovely friend Ruth from Ruth Loves to Knit. She's definitely made many. I think she's made the cardigan, but she showed on her last podcast she also was wearing a Felix Pullover and she was currently knitting one. So I did it, and actually it didn't take very long at all. It's obviously I won't give you too much information, but it is an Aran weight yarn and it's knit on 6mm needles. And this is the only sort of bit you have to think about. The rest is, it's knitting the round top down. Yeah, only took me about 4 days to knit because I did knit on it quite monogamously. It was quite funny. The day that I cast it on, a friend texted me and asked me what I was up to, asked me what sort of things I was making. And she happened to be at the time wearing her Felix cardigan, she told me. And I said to her, oh, I'm going to do the pullover, but I'm going to finish something before I cast it on. I saw this friend on Sunday. So today is, I didn't say that, did I, at the beginning? Wednesday the 5th, I this is terrible. I should check before. I think it's the 5th of April. Could be this. Yeah, the 5th of April. I saw her on Sunday and I said to her, look, this is the jumper that I wasn't going to cast on. It's finished. And I knit it using, it's on a project. I'll show you that in a minute. A cable, new cable that Ruth bought me. It's very kind of her. I use interchangeable needles. It was a Knit Pro cable from their Mindfulness collection. Very nice. I will explain more when I show you it later. That is the first finished object. Very pleased with it. Already planning a second. Got some wool, yarn, everything sorted. I am just buying or have ordered a new set of 5mm Knit Pro ends. I use Knit Pro Symphonies, and I generally use the short version. These are a smaller one. Let me show you. You get shorts and standard, because the short ones work with, they go down to a 40cm cable. So if you put that on there, it wouldn't be the right length, wouldn't be 40 centimetres, and you'd find it difficult to get around in the circle, whereas these are the shorter ones. And I was able to do the sleeves on a 40 centimetre cable, think of them. And the ribbing is done on a 5, which I thought I had a set of 5. This is where I'm getting to. I thought I had a set of the 5mm Knit Pros so I could do the rib, but I didn't. And I had to go searching in my bag of needles and found a very old metal pair of fixed circulars. I think I've put them away now. Nothing wrong with them. It's just I prefer wood and I prefer those nicer cables, blah, blah, blah. Bought a new pair. Anyway, you probably didn't need to know all of that, but now you do. So let's talk about something else. You're probably bored of me talking about this. Again, I will put a photo in now. And then you'll know what I'm rambling about. So sorry. I'll tell you, I'm going to have a quick drink. Try and regroup. Okay. Second finished object, which also will show you something new that I've got. They are still in my project bag. This is one I made myself. The front has been English paper piece, EPP'd, hexes, and then turned into this bag. It's one of my favourite bags. So I got these in the post yesterday. I've never had a pair of sock blockers. Because I always thought, what's the point? I don't block my socks. I put them straight on my feet. But being on a podcast, you like to, well, I hope you like to see what I have actually made. And these will hopefully make it better. We will find out. I haven't tried them out yet. There's no reason why they shouldn't. So these ones are, they look absolutely enormous, but that's probably because they are. I have size UK 8 feet. And I think these are like a 7 to 9. Look, a little sheep. Oh, that might help. Maybe let's not duplicate him. Little sheep. And I have got this one. This is where they've come from. So on Etsy, the Green Lake Craft Studio. Oops. That's where they are from. Okay, so let's see if I can demonstrate them for you. Showed you these last time. These are my old Sweatshirt Socks. Uh-oh, this is where I've got to try and balance things. Put socks on blockers. I should have put one on to start with. Blah, 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 blah. It's the same as putting it on your foot, Hannah. Right, yeah, sorry. Old Sweatshirt Socks from Knitail. Free pattern on Ravelry. Saw Alex, lovely Alex from My Yarny Corner making these. So I had some leftovers if you remember from my Painting Waves shawl, plus some other bits and bobs from my stash. Sorry, I'm on to the second one. The massive socks, I mean long socks. Haven't worn them yet, looking forward to wearing them. Now, before I show you, little just quick warning, if you like a pair of matching socks, look away. It can be distressing for some people. They are definitely, you know, a pair of socks, but I have reversed the order. I'll show. Shall I just show you? I'll show you. Ta-da! Look at those. Ooh, so colourful. I took a pair of these to, I was on the last one, and I took them to my little knit group coffee morning the other week, and my friend said, I was on the yellow bit, this neon, and I took it out of my bag. She went, oh gosh, that's bright. Some people don't do neon. So there's the one, oh, two. So you can see, ooh, that's, I love a rainbow. I love neons. What was I going to tell you? One starts pink, fades down to purple. One starts purple, goes down to pink. So they clearly are a pair. But I thought, just, you know, mix it up. Now, these are sort of slouchy socks, as you can see. So the pattern makes them sort of swoosh down. Is that a word? Swoosh. The only thing with these socks, which didn't really bother me too much, was because I'd chosen to use so many different colours. Obviously, there were ends. I just weaved in my ends at the end. I don't do any kind of fancy joining or knotting. I was quite happy to do that. They're not too bumpy. I've got scrappy socks that I've knit before. I showed you some last week actually, and I'm not bothered by bumps really in my socks, not bothered by matching socks. In fact, because they're hand knit, I think, well, it's quite nice that they don't always match completely, because then you know they're not shop bought. But I'm very much looking forward to wearing these. I will be making more, I'm sure, not necessarily in so many different colours, just because of all the joinings. But yeah, I'm super pleased with these. I have found another pattern on Ravelry with similar sort of, what's the word, slouchy type sock that I might give a go. I haven't written it down, but yeah, maybe if I get on with them, I will be able to show you. I haven't put a picture of these on Instagram yet, but now they're on my beautiful sock blockers. I shall do so, because they're quite hard to show. Because of the rib, they sort of scrunch in, so they look all little narrow, and you hang them up and they look all sort of dangly. Love them. That is a pair of beautiful socks, in my opinion. So that's those. That was the old Sweatshirt Socks. Right. Let me just, that project bag can go back now. Put something new in there. Another knitted object. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, which details are below, then you will see that I have, no, that's fine. I thought I'd pulled a stitch in there, but I haven't. You will see that I have been keeping you updated on the progress of my Starflake Shawl. Now, let me just, if you have seen it, you will know that I finished it last night after the mammoth I-cord bind off. I love an I-cord bind off, as does Stephen West, clearly. Really, they really do finish a shawl beautifully. But Stephen West doesn't make small shawls. He makes massive shawls. So they have a massive bind off edge that take many, many days of knitting. This is bind off edge took me, I think I worked out somewhere between 4 and 5 hours. I think nearer the 4. There were lots of tea breaks in the in between, you know, do a bit, have a cup of tea, do a bit more, have some lunch, do a bit more. In fact, I think I started before lunch, I finished after tea. Anyway, let me show you. When I showed you this last time, I was about here in this section here, which is a stocking garter section. And now it's finished. I'm so pleased with it. I say finished, I haven't blocked it yet, obviously. It was off the needles last night. I'll try and show you some of the sections a little bit closer because it is a bit wibbly wobbly because it hasn't been blocked. So you've got this, start with these this isn't going to go well, parallelograms at the top. Then it goes on to this next chevron section. Now we come to this garter section. In the pattern, and if you've seen any other podcasters making this, you'll probably already know that in the pattern, this section here can either be garter, as I've chosen to do, or brioche. I don't think I have an interest in doing brioche. I certainly wasn't prepared to learn it whilst doing this. And to be honest, I think I prefer this garter anyway on this particular shawl because the knitting follows the direction as everything else is. Does that make sense? Whereas brioche would have been up and down. I mean, I wasn't going to do the brioche anyway, so I don't know why I'm trying to make excuses. I was going to do the garter. And then we get this eyelet section. Can you see there's eyelets? Sort of. And what are you meant to put behind things to show eyelets? What's the best thing? There we go. Then the garter edge. Then, garter edge, which I stopped early. There is an option in the shawl pattern to do like this section. And then there's another eyelet row and then some more. But this got up to just over 600 stitches. And I thought, I can't do any more. It's big enough, and I knew that bind off was coming. And here is that I-cord bind off, which you may notice is a 2-colour I-cord bind off, which I haven't done before. It is actually in the pattern. Was not difficult at all. I did watch, excuse me, I watched Stephen's tutorial on YouTube, very helpful. It did to add some time possibly to the bind off, but I think it was worth it because you create an I-cord down the side as you go, and obviously that's all different colours. The top had both colours along the top, and I just thought if I did the I-cord in this multicolour, I'll show you the right side. If I did it in the multicolour, I didn't think it would show up that much. And if I did it in the black, I thought it was going to be a bit too solid. So I'm really pleased with the way that's come out. Where's the top gone? Let me show you, try and show you it all once more. I will... Oh, I love it. And again... maybe not showing up as bright as it actually is. I haven't tried it on yet. Because if you've been here before, you'll know I'm a fan of neons. This has been knit using, so the dark, it's not actually black, it's like a charcoaly colour, is Drop Snored, colour 606, and this is a 45% alpaca, 30% polyamide, 25% wool. It is quite hairy yarn, You can probably, I don't know if you'll be able to see. Not too bad, not too scratchy or anything, and it'll soften up once it's been blocked. Then the multi was actually 2 different skeins of yarn. I have got a little bit left. These are the 2. So you can see they're similar colours but slightly different. These were Lucky Dips from James Makes Yarn. He does 2 lucky, every now and again you get 2 Lucky Dips. 200-gram skeins as your lucky dip, which are dyed on a slightly lower quality yarn than he would normally use, but absolutely fine. Great price. You just don't know what you're going to get, but if you've been here before, you'll probably know I'm a massive fan of James's. Love his yarns, have lots. You'll see some more later. So yes, I used both of those and I alternated using those. So the parallelograms at the top, obviously you can see quite clearly that they're from, oh, that's the back. They're, you know, from different balls of yarn. Same on these chevrons, alternated. Then as I did the garter, I actually alternated skeins every coloured row. And the same in the bottom garter panel, alternated rows. So I don't think you look at it and think, oh, they're from completely different yarns. I'm very happy with it, as you can tell. I keep just looking at it. Yeah, love it. Now, I finished this, like I say, last night. Finished the mammoth bind off, sewed in all the ends, swished it round a lot, showing it to Cara, going, ooh, ah. 10 minutes later, I'd got my box of yarns out and was planning the next one. Not the next one of these, the next shawl, which I shall show you in a moment. Let's just put that away. So yes, that is the Starflake by Stephen West. I don't know how to fold it up. It's a bit of an odd shape, but fold it up, I have tried. Okay, one more finished object to show you before we move on to whips. Where have I put it? Here he is. Again, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen the progress. I'm looking in the wrong place. Ta-da! Here he is. He's a fat frog. I don't always show frogs on my podcast. You may have noticed last podcast that I showed you a knitted frog. This little chap, however, he's a bit stiff, is a crocheted frog. Now, I had seen this sort of pop up on Instagram and things, but I saw a finished frog on Crafty Creations, lovely Jeanette. She had made Hugo, he's called Hugo the Frog. She had also crocheted hers, and she had made him some clothes. He had a little hoodie and little super cute little boots. I haven't got that far yet. I have got the pattern, excuse me, I have got a pattern to make him a raincoat and welly boots, which I will get round to at some point. If you saw last time my other frog, I'm not sure if he's as cute as that frog. I mean, he's lovely. I do love him, and he's got a really happy face, I think. But yeah, he's a little bit more stiff. You can, like the knitted one, put wires in his arms and legs. I didn't have any wire anyway, so I didn't. To make him posable. Legs sticking straight out. Anyway, like I say, Hugo the Frog. The pattern is from My Crochet Wonders. I got the pattern on Etsy. I'll link everything. The pattern that I've got for his raincoat and his welly boots is actually a free pattern. There are other patterns for other types of clothing that I paid for patterns. There was also a pattern on her Instagram which I saved to make a dress, a crochet dress. So this one, let me tell you what he's been made using. This one was crocheted using Ricorumi double knit, the little tiny 25-gram balls, in this sort of green, dark green colour. These were the only colours I could find because I got it into my head that I wanted to start it and I was going to start it, and I didn't know exactly how much yarn it would take. Obviously not a huge amount because it's only a small crocheted toy, but I didn't want to risk running out of colours, so I used ones that I had the full balls of and even some extras. So it's a bit, I would have liked a brighter green, but you know when you get something in your head and you're like, I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it now. That was me. Yeah, it used hardly anything. I had loads left, so I could have used a different colour. I know Jeanette did hers in Shepier's stone wash, so hers is probably a little bit softer. This one's quite stiff. I did it on a bigger hook as well than it called for. I think it called for 2.5, and I just knew that was gonna be too hard work for me. If I do anything too small or too vigorous, I get problems in my wrists. So I've done this on a 3mm, and the crochet is pretty good. There's, you know, the tension on it, it's nice and tight. So that is Hugo. I shouldn't hold him by his legs, that looks weird. That is Hugo the Frog, yet to be dressed, but I'm going with it as a finished object. So I don't know, who knows, there might be another frog next podcast, I just don't know. Yeah, Hugo the Frog. Okay, let me have a look. Oh, there was one more finished object. Actually, there's a couple of other finished objects, but I don't, have them to show you. It's going to be darker outside. I don't have them to show you, and I don't have photos of all of them, but I do have a picture of one of them. I mentioned last time that I was making a birthday present for someone, so I couldn't show you. That has now been gifted, and that was for, as previously mentioned, lovely Ruth, very lovely friend of mine, Ruth from Ruth Loves to Knit. Was her birthday. If you watch her podcast, you will know she is not a crocheter. She can crochet. She's making a blanket, but it's not her thing. She is a knitter, and I a while ago made a cardigan called the Flower Power cardigan, crocheted by Sam Speedo. I think yeah, it was on here. If it's on my Instagram, it was crochet hexagons with a flower in the middle. I'd done mine in dark green and all different pinks and oranges and things for the flowers. Ruth loved it and mentioned at one point, would you make me one? Oh, you know, I'll pay you for them, blah, 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 blah. No, you won't be paying me for it. So I made her one for her birthday in navy as the main colour, and then lots of different rainbow coloured flowers. I gave it to her. She went away for her birthday. She was away in Ireland. So we saw her a couple of days before, and I gifted it to her then. And I shall put in a photo of her wearing said cardigan. She liked it very much, I think is the best way to say it. She did very much like it, and she was very pleased with it. And you are very welcome for it, because I know you'll say thank you again. Very, very, I was going to say knit worthy, but crochet worthy person, which I know she'll enjoy wearing it. Let's put it that way. So that was one project that I had also finished. What else? Oh, I know what else I made. I made some crochet bits. Now, do you find, as a knitter or a crocheter, that people find out that you can do this and then they ask you to make unusual things? Could you maybe do this? Would you be able to do that? So a lady from Sebby, my nephew's school, was making with some story bags from the younger children in school, and she needed a onesie it was better, that's probably the best word. I knitted one in the story, this character, a doll, Action Man type doll, needed a green onesie matching hat. Could you knit? She couldn't think of anybody else. She knew that I knitted and crocheted. Would I be able to help her out? Yes, I said. And I don't have any photos, and it's a shame really because it was quite amusing. I crocheted, because I couldn't knit it, a green onesie and matching hat for an Action Man, like you do. So, you know, that's one bizarre thing that I've never made, probably never will again. So yes, that was one. Then when I gave it to her and she was, or Cara passed it on to her and she was thrilled with Action Man's onesie, she also requested, if at all possible, a large jam sandwich. Another storybook that needed a jam sandwich, you know, 2 slices of bread, piece of jam, piece of jam, I suppose it was, A4-ish in size. So I also have crocheted a large jam sandwich, 2 slices of white bread, and a sheet of strawberry jam. Again, no picture, although it did say in the school newsletter that the children had, one of the children in particular had been quoted saying how lovely that particular story bag was because there was bits to make a large jam sandwich. So yeah, bizarre, but you know, these are the sort of crazy things we end up making really, I think, unless it's just me, I don't know. So yes, that is it for finished objects. Let's move on to works in progress. Now, I have to be honest, not much to show. There are plans, definitely, and I'm also, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes, also planning on going over there where my yarns are stored, or some of them, and there's a box, you know, the IKEA Kallax boxes, one of them that's got a couple of languishing whips in them, and I plan to crack on and get one done, hopefully. They're all, I think there's a cardigan and 2 jumpers ish, or a jumper and a tee, so I will try and get one of those done. Anyway, let me show you, I'm just, oh, it's in here. Let me show you what I'm working on now. So, like I said, I'd finished my, it's gone already, I finished it, it's gone, Starflake Shawl, and moments later I was on to planning my next one. It's another Stephen West. If you've been in before, you'll know I'm a big Stephen West fan. He recently brought out a new pattern called the Eyelet Burst Shawl, which is a beginner's pattern. It's a massive shawl, as they all are. Beginner's shawl, remember that, beginner's shawl. And it is, it's a very simple pattern. My brain just chose not to work last night. Combination of things. It was 10:30 at night, that's one thing. I was very engrossed in watching The Mandalorian, which, you know, I've seen it before. I shouldn't have had to pay too much attention to it. My brain decided it had forgotten how to read knitting patterns. And then also I had a problem with stitch markers. Lots of excuses. You'll see when I show you. Well, yes, Hannah, that's a very simple pattern. What's wrong with you? Shall I stop waffling and show you? So, this is, like I say, a Stephen West. It's 4 skein shawl. So, had the yarns out, was having a play. I've already, obviously because I've started it, one has been balled. Just looking for the, there it is, the label. Okay, see if I can show you this. I don't know how well they're going to show up. So, whoa, these are the colours that I have chosen. Let me show you them all once at a time. I have got a photo, so actually I might put the photo in because it shows the colours a little bit better. The first colour that I am using and I've already started with, oh, it shows it's showing up very pale there, is this. It's a little bit, it's not quite as pale as that. It's a sort of pale turquoisey blue, very pretty colour. It's looking really pale there. Doesn't make any difference on this side. Oh, slightly better. The camera's over this side and I'm trying to, there we go, I'll just cover up my face. So it's this beautiful blue and it's got pink speckles and green speckles and then some other little bits of blue. It's very pretty. Focus. There we go, cover up your head and that's better. So that's the first one. This is from lovely Mandy from Mouses Makes podcast. Her yarn is Mousewitch yarn, handmade by Poppy and Mouse. Poppy is her co-host, lovely cat. And this is one of her year of yarns. This is April's, which is Easter themed. This is a fingering weight yarn, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. So that is colour number 1. And then the yarns fade throughout. This next colour is beautiful. This is yet another James Makes Yarns Lucky Dip. I only have one this time because me and my mum went halves, because you get 2 in your Lucky Dip. We went halves and had 1 each. So this colour has got the similar blue in, and then just lots of other amazing yellows, pinks, purples, lots of speckles of an orangey part. There's loads in there, and I'm sure once I unskein it, I'll see even more bits of green. Haven't caked everything up because I don't have a yarn, like a ball winder. I don't think what they were called then. It's broken basically. So I have the round and roundy winder, technical term, the roundy winder. So that's why I end up with balls. I don't mind balling up yarn, it's not a problem. Hopefully at some point I'll get a new I was going to say ball maker, and that is definitely not right. Yarn winder. Is it the yarn winder? Is that the actual bit? Yeah, because that's a Swift. Right, third colour is one that's been in stash. I was thinking about this last night. This yarn has been in stash at least 4 years, if not more, because I've lived in this house 3 years, had it in the last house, could be 4 years. You don't need to know that. But that's just what it is. Here it is. More neons, more colour. This one is, so we've got oranges, pinks, yellows, black speckles, and then some sort of, white patches. This is from Woolly Mama Yarns. Beautiful yarns from there. And this colour is called Acceptable in the 80s. It's a fingering weight yarn, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. This one's really super soft actually. It doesn't feel like a nylon based one. Oh, phew. I just found an end. I thought, what is that? But it's the tie. Ties up. That's the third one. Final one is this one. Blowing out a little bit. Put it on this side. Lots of beautiful pinks, yellows, oranges. And this is a Somerset Yarns. I've got this one on a D-stash actually. this colourway is Jellyfish, and again is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. So that is the fourth colour. I was going to say third, but that wouldn't be right. So that shouldn't be difficult. There's only 4 of them. That is my colour palette for this shawl. Show us the shawl, you say. Now be prepared, there's lots to show you. I'm just trying to spread it out a bit on the cable. Yes, that is it. That is the total sum of knitting last night. Now, you can see, like I was saying, it has these eyelets. I can't tell you too much because it's a paid for pattern. There we go. Why that took me so long to work out, I just don't understand. I must have done at least 4 times, restarted this. Don't be put off. It is a beginner's pattern. It is doable, absolutely. My brain just chose not to work last night. Don't cast on shawls at 10:30 at night is my opinion, is my advice to you. So you can see I've got lots of markers in. You can tell I was watching Star Wars last night, look, because I've got a marker on to show me the front because it's garter stitch and it's a stormtrooper. Lots of markers in to show me where the yarn overs are. It says in the pattern, place a marker. This is the one thing that I think was the real issue for me. You can see on here I've used these sort of safety pin markers, big markers. It's what I used in my Starflake, didn't have a problem with them. Whereas before that, I'll try and pick them up. Before I started using those, I was using these little, you see, just about see them, teeny tiny ring markers with a little bead on them, which is, I've been using them in my sock knitting, and they are great for sock knitting, but obviously you're not doing any yarn overs either side of them. And when I was doing the yarn over, the stitch marker wasn't big enough to sort of hold that yarn over in place. It was going underneath it or over it, so all my eyelets are ending up in wrong places. So I swapped to the big stitch markers, much better. As you can see, only done a teeny weeny bit, but it is a super simple pattern. It's 2-row repeats for the whole thing, and you just tells you how to do your colour fading, basically. It's going to be a whopper, but it's going to be beautiful, I think, in all those lovely colours. Now, this is the cable that I was telling you about. So I'm knitting these again on Knit Pro Symphonies. These are a 375 interchangeable, and I am using it on this beautiful turquoise wire. These are the mindfulness. I was going to show you the packaging, but someone has very helpfully thrown it away when we were having a tidy up the other day. I was just having a look to see if there was some writing on it, and I don't know. No, it's just to tell you what it is. These, they come in 2 different types. I guess what would be standard cable, and these are swivel cables. So where they join into the needles, they spin without coming undone. Now, I find a lot with some of them, not all of them, there must be a way that I knit and they end up unscrewing. Whereas these obviously aren't going to unscrew because they've got that swivel in them. The cable is lovely, really flexible. Let me show you. This is one of the normal cables, and they are what I like to call boingy. You can see, look, I think it's called, it has memory, and it all boings. And when you're doing knitting on it, they fling around all over the place sometimes. I will definitely be replacing a lot of these with the Mindfulness Shawl cable mindful cables. I haven't used Chigu knitting needles before, but I've heard people compare these to those. These are I think the inside's metal with this plastic over the top, unlike those plastic ones. If you get the chance to have a go with one, give them a go. They're really lovely. And you can see I've got, this is an 80 centimetre because it's the only one I've got. And I started this straight on here because normally I'd use a short one and move over, because a longer normal cable is very unruly. I find them boings around all over the place. Did you want to know all that about cables? Is that boring or exciting? I don't know. But yes, I like them. Definitely will be getting more. That is the very beginning of the Eyelet Burst shawl. I'm going to crack on with that. Get plenty more done. Don't know how much by the next time I see you, because like I say, it is enormous. I'll put a picture in, you'll be able to see. Stephen West is a big guy, tall guy, and it's huge on him. Anyway, do I have any more whips to show you? I can very quickly show you my Yuletide blanket. Oh dear. Having a rest? No, she's gone. just sit down there. Yuletide blanket. Showed you this last time. I'd only just started it. When I showed you it to start with, I'd done one repeat of the colours, so to this red colour. I have now got 3 repeats of all the colours. I've got some ends to weave in, and that's why it's not got any bigger, because I have said to myself, sew in the ends after every colour repeat before you do the next colour repeat, which I have done. It's just one more lot for this one. So that's the 3rd repeat. It's getting quite big. I think it has 5 colour repeats, I think. But yeah, that's a bit extra progress on that one. So that's the Yuletide blanket by Lucy at Attic 24. And I am using Stylecraft Special DK for that. If you want to know exactly what colours, head back to my last video and I talk about it a lot more there. So I think that's it. I have got sort of a cast on that I'm probably going to start at probably today. I am going to join in this month with Denise Dear from Dear Designs. Some of you might already watch her. She has a podcast and vlogs. She runs, or she has done for the last couple of years, a year of the sock, where she does prompts for every month. Now, I don't know if this was just me not being very clever. I didn't know whether you could dip in and out sort of thing. I thought maybe you had to start, oh God, rogue hair, start from the beginning of the year and do every month. You don't. So I am going to do this month's, and this month's prompt is Easter, which my other socks that I showed you last time, I've got them here, yeah. These would have been ideal because it's an Easter colourway, but obviously not done at the right time. And they're in an Easter bag. I have chosen a different colourway. So this is the colour that I'm going to be using for my Easter socks. This is very untidy ball because I think it's been partially knit before, maybe. It's a West Yorkshire Spinner signature 4-ply. This is again, doesn't have the name on, but it is called, I think it's called Wildflowers or Wildflower. Yeah, I don't think it's Wildflower. I don't think it's Wildflowers. And it's part of the Winwick Mum collection. She brought out some different collections. So this is what I'm going to be using. It's a self-striping yarn. So I was thinking of doing some sort of pattern. And I'm also wondering if I've got anything that could do contrast heels and toes and things. I think I might have a bit of this sort of green. If I don't, Mum might. I might possibly do like a slip stitch pattern on it, where you have a slip stitch that runs all the way down. Works quite well with striped yarns. I did think possibly about doing a ribbed sock after having done those Sweatshirt Socks. Anyway, that will be going on the needles at some point. And that is that. I haven't got any acquisitions to show you because the acquisitions that I had were sock blockers, showing you those, cable needle, oh no, sorry, cable, showing you those. I have bought some bits recently for yarn dyeing, had a few new dyes from the company that I use, and some bits and bobs. There are plans to start doing some more yarn dyeing. I have shown yarns on here that I've dyed before that I've used for my own projects. I'd really like to do some yarn dyeing. I love doing it, and I'd like to see if anybody else would like to maybe perhaps buy any. I'm not going to say too much now because it's still very much in the planning stage of that, but fingers crossed. Tell me what you think. Tell me, do you think I should bother with all these beautiful yarn dyes that are out there or not? I mean, I will dye yarn. If nobody wants it, fine, I'll keep it, but it would be nice if somebody would like to help me out, maybe buy a few. Also, I don't know what happened to my voice. Also, if that happens, I'm planning to get the sewing machine out, make some project bags, and maybe get those in a shop as well. Anyway, those are things to come. Tell me what you think. Yes, so that is everything. Let me know about the pattern pictures and all that kind of things, if it bothers you in any way. If you're a podcaster, like I said, any suggestions on what's it called, editing software, much appreciated. And that is it. Any other questions, comments you want to leave me will be lovely. If you liked the video, enjoyed watching my rambling, sorry, I'm just itching my leg. Yeah, give it a like. Go as far as to subscribe if you're new, would be absolutely ideal. The little channel is growing. Like I said, I had a flurry of subscribers last time. Would be lovely to have a few more. And that is that. I shall leave you alone now. Not quite an hour. My camera does say almost an hour, but there was some mess ups at the beginning, so that will be chopped off in editing. Right, I'm gonna go make a cup of tea, do a bit more knitting on that Eyelet shawl, and maybe watch more Mandalorian. I don't know, it gets in the way of my knitting, who knows. Right, thank you ever so much for watching. Thank you, honestly, thank you so much for watching. It's been a real pleasure to spend some time with you, and I will see you again at some point with some more ramblings to share with you. Okay, thanks everybody, bye.